From Max Struss's insane $63 million package to Jeremy Grant's jaw-dropping 5-year $160 million deal, these are the most overpaid NBA free agents in 2023. This year's free agency period officially kicked off on June 30th, and every team's scrambling to make sure they score the best players. But with millions of dollars worth of contracts being handed out every day, some franchises are going a little overboard with their signings. And Max Struss's insane $63 million package has been making waves in the NBA community. The former Miami Heat player has inked a mega deal with the Cleveland Cavaliers, raking in an average of $15.75 million per year, and with the contract being fully guaranteed, he's going to be pocketing every cent of that eye-popping sum. But is Struss really worth all that cash? Well, experts are questioning whether this was a good investment for the Cavaliers. Sure, he had a decent run with the Heat, playing 107 games and averaging 10.3 points and 2.9 rebounds per game, but he was never a star player. And during his years with the team, he rarely played the role of a game-changing leader. I mean, okay, he did make some improvement in the 2023 season, since he averaged 11.5 points and 3.2 rebounds per game while shooting 35% from beyond the arc. But his performance in the NBA Finals should have been enough to make any team second-guess him. Max practically vanished on the court, averaging a poor 3.8 points and shooting at 25% from the three-point range in 5 games. So, with the dip in his performance, many fans are confused about why the Cavs chose him, let alone give him a salary that big. But with even Zach Lowe, a well-known sports critic, calling them out for their decision, all eyes will be on Max next season to see if he's worth the paycheck. But he's not the only player who has something to prove in 2023. Dillon Brooks' $80 million deal with the Rockets is also making headlines everywhere. The former Memphis Grizzlies player has just put pen to paper on a massive 4-year contract, taking home a staggering $20 million a year on average. But while it's a fully guaranteed sweet deal for the player, many fans think that Houston got the short end of the stick here. Sure, he had a decent run with the Grizzlies, averaging 14.3 points and 3.3 rebounds per game over 4 seasons, but the Rockets need a star player to lead them into the new season. And let's not forget, his shooting and defensive skills need major improvement because he hits just 40.8% from the field and 34.8% from downtown. Plus, he had a knack for racking up turnovers, averaging 2.1 per game. Add to that his foul trouble and technical errors, and you've got a player who struggles to stay on the court. But I have to give credit where it's due. Dillon has had his moments of brilliance, especially in the 2023 season. He upped his scoring to an average of 17.2 points per game, and even dropped a career-high 37 points against the San Antonio Spurs, while scoring 7 triples against the Utah Jazz. Not a bad run, right? But even then, many critics think that his improvement isn't enough to justify that payday. So who knows what the Rockets were thinking when they signed him on? That said, he's not their only blunder in this free agency period. They've also signed Fred VanVleet for a mind-blowing $130 million deal that's left everyone scratching their heads. The former Toronto Raptors star has finalized his 3-year max contract with the Rockets, making him one of the highest-paid players this season. But while his bank account will be looking really nice, it isn't exactly controversy-free. So here's the $130 million question. What does the head coach see in him? Sure, he's had a solid run with the Raptors, averaging 14.7 points and 6.3 assists per game over 5 seasons, including an impressive championship run in 2019. But let's be honest here. When the offseason started, nobody expected him to be one of the highest-paid free agents. Fred isn't exactly a superstar player who can single-handedly carry the Rockets to new heights. In fact, he's not even the most athletic or explosive point guard out there. He missed 18 extremely important games in 2022 because of injuries, and his only outstanding moment was during the match with Orlando Magic, where he scored an impressive 54 points. Ime Udoka hopes that VanVleet will slide in as their primary scorer and leader, but he might be relying a little too much on his experience as compared to his skills. The only positive thing to come out of this deal might be Fred's two-way skills and leadership. Though as much as he's admired for his hard work and growth, the star is going to have to work hard to prove his critics wrong. While I am on the topic of seasoned vets with heavy wallets, Reggie Jackson has re-signed with the Nuggets for a 2-year contract worth $10.25 million, and this deal is stirring up massive controversy, mainly because Reggie isn't really someone who should have been picked up at all. He's making the move from the LA Clippers, who traded him to the Charlotte Hornets. But before the Hornets could even see him in action, Reggie negotiated a contract buyout and found himself a new home with the Nuggets in 2023, where he helped the team secure their first ever NBA championship. But while he's got history with the franchise, many industry insiders think that isn't enough to justify adding him to the roster at that salary. Because while Reggie's a seasoned guard who can score on the court, he's also very inconsistent. As a starter with the Clippers, he averaged 11.8 points and 4.1 assists per game. But when Jackson came off the bench for the Nuggets, his numbers dropped to 7.9 points and 2.1 assists per game. And when you look at the Nuggets roster, they already have a talented backcourt with the likes of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. So, is Reggie really worth that much money? The only reason head coach Michael Malone took his gamble was that he was hoping Jackson's experience would add value to the team. But with his average run in 2022, the deal is causing major debate on social media. Still, when it comes to making the front page, nobody does it better than Bruce Brown, who's going to be starting the season with an incredible $45 million salary. But the question on everyone's mind is whether he's truly worth the hefty price tag. Bruce is making the move from the Nuggets to the Pacers in a sign-and-trade deal. And he did a below-average job during the 1 year that he spent with the Nuggets, maintaining 11.5 points and 4.1 rebounds each game. But even though the Nuggets have been extremely successful in recent years, he wasn't exactly the driving force behind their wins. This is exactly why this deal's an overpay, because even though Bruce is a forward who can score and defend, he isn't the best the league has to offer. Last season, he put up decent numbers, but his shooting percentages were far from impressive. And with just 46% from the field and 37% from beyond the arc, you have to wonder if he can deliver consistently and be the Pacers' go-to player night in and night out. I get that the team's in a rebuilding phase after losing key players in the last 5 years, but many fans are arguing if the money could have been better spent elsewhere. And Indiana isn't the only one having to deal with a backlash like this, because Jeremy Grant's jaw-dropping 5-year $160 million deal with the Portland Trail Blazers is also raising many eyebrows. The 6'8" forward is going to bank an average of $25.5 million per year after making the switch from Detroit Pistons in 2022. And while he did an impressive job for the Blazers last season, averaging 20.5 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 2.8 assists per game, some critics think the team's gone overboard with this salary package. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure he's a decent player, but is he worth such a crazy amount? His shooting percentages were nothing extraordinary, and his consistency is still very questionable. But I have to admit that he's done an impressive job waiting for the free agency period. Yahoo Sports' Jake Fisher reported in January that Jeremy turned down a $112 million offer, which was the most Portland was allowed to offer him at the time. And now, the team's desperate enough to give him the blank check he wants. The only thing that's left for Grant to prove now is that he's worth going bankrupt over. So there you have it. From Jeremy Grant's jaw-dropping 5-year $160 million deal to Max Strus's insane $63 million package, those were the most overpaid NBA free agents in 2023.